It's nice to be here today and to be with you guys this evening. A lot of great things going on at Burdge Elementary. I'm the principal over at Burdge Elementary on Olympian. This is my first year as a building principal. I was the 7th grade AP over at McNeil last year. Had just a fantastic experience and learned a lot, and was fortunate and blessed enough to be able to come over to Burdge and to lead Burdge the last couple of months of last year, and started off this year there, and we're doing all sorts of wonderful things, and I want to share some of those with you tonight. First of all, when I got there, the idea of interventions was at the school, but there wasn't a lot of substance and structure behind the interventions, okay? And I got a piece of data that made me think about how can we address this issue. And I want to show you what that data is. Maybe. There we go. The piece of data is related to the building goals and the school learning objectives that we set for this year. And you can look at the first two, but really the third building goal is the one I'd like to draw your attention to. And that says 60% of all Burdge students, as measured by the May 2014 Reading Maps Assessment, will meet or exceed grade level norms in their respective grade levels. And then it gives you the numbers for that. Now, that kind of reminds me of a story of a man who was riding his bike in the park and looked up and saw a very attractive woman walking by on the same path. And the lady looked up at him and said, "Sir, I have something to tell you." And he thought to himself, well, I guess I need to hear this. He got off his bike and said, "Well, what is it that you want to say?" And she said, "Well, my goodness, sir, you are very ugly." And he scratched his head and thought for a minute. He said, "Well, I suppose you're right, but I don't see as there's much I can do about that." And the lady said, "Well, you could have stayed home." This is kind of an ugly piece of data here.
That got you. That got you.
That's straight from Abraham Lincoln. That's one of the stories he told, so I thought that was good for us. And I love telling it. Hopefully it's not because it's autobiographical. But this piece of data is that when at the end of the year last year, we were sending far too many kids to the middle school below grade level in reading. And so that's really, when you look at our school, it's a purpose-driven school. And it is driven by the purpose of turning that number upside down, which was we were sending about 60% of our kids below grade level at reading to the middle school. And we want to flip-flop that. We want to say 60% of our kids will be sent to the next level at grade level or above. And so we have developed something this year having to do with interventions that I think addresses that and gives structure to everything we do. All right, and I want you to imagine that there are 5 4th grade teachers and 5 5th grade teachers at Burdge. And they're in 4 teams, a team of 2, a team of 3 in 4th grade, a team of 2, and a team of 3 in 5th grade. So 4 teams comprising the 10 regular ed classroom teachers. And a team of 2 will have a 45-minute intervention from 8:05 to 8:50. There'll be a 5-minute passing period. And then one of the other teams of 4th or 5th grade will have another 45-minute intervention and then a 5-minute passing. And so we have 4 45-minute interventions throughout the morning, right up until lunch. Everything is scheduled around those interventions. Why? Because we have nearly everybody in the building, all decks on hand, rushing to those teams to provide interventions. So it would look something like this. If this is teacher X, Y, and Z, a team of 3. In each class, let's say there's an average of 25 students for 75 total students. We'll bring those 5 interventionists to bear on that team of 3. We have 4th grade case manager special ed teacher, 5th grade case manager special ed teacher. We have our ELL specialist. We've got our speech and language teacher, and we've got an academic support teacher who's licensed as a special ed teacher. And so they come to bear on that group of 3 teachers, those 75 kids, and they pull about an average of 5 students per intervention group, and they give them pointed interventions exactly at their grade level to meet the need that they have to get them up to speed in their reading. Our most fragile friends as readers here are getting the interventions they need. Some are Tier 3, LLI, taught by our special ed teachers. Some are Tier 2, SOAR, Guided Reading Therapy, Guided Reading Plus. There's progress monitoring and placement that goes on every 2 to 3 months. So we're constantly addressing this. My reading specialist is Brandy Herford. She does an amazing job working with the data, helping to bring these interventions and putting the kids in the right places. So here are our most fragile friends receiving those Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. And then what are we left with? About 50 kids out of the 75 are left. So they go and file back into the 3 teachers. And we've got now divided by those RIT ranges on the MAP score, we have our most accelerated readers. There might be 25 of the 50 with Teacher X. And then there might be 15 of the leftover 50 students in with Teacher Y. And then the last 10 would be with Teacher Z. And these last 10 are probably the most fragile of the 50. The mid-range readers and the most accelerated. So no matter if you need some remediation to get up to speed, here you go, we've got it. If you're kind of right where you need to be, you're getting what you need to zoom up even higher. And if you're already accelerated, you're getting what you need to go even beyond that. So all these things are pointed and directed. It makes the school purpose-driven. Everything is around that. We've cleared out all specialists in the morning. There are no specialist classes till the afternoon, so we can run this. And then there's a 30-minute school-wide math intervention after lunch from 12:05 to 12:35. And it's designed a little differently. But this is where we are pouring our resources. This is where we're pouring all of our efforts to get and flip-flop those numbers so we can address that data piece. What else is going on at Burdge? We've instituted some parent nights here throughout the year. We've got 5 of them scheduled. 2 have already taken place. September 10th, it was a welcome back night. November 19th, Steve came to address the crowd as well as Beth Clark, and we had a pretty good turnout for that, talking about the 4-8 transition, answering a lot of questions our parents really were concerned about right there, face-to-face, a very intimate setting. It was a great connection with the community. Our next will be February 11th, and we're going to bring the iPads into this and make a walking museum to focus on Black History Months and in a larger sense, civil rights movement. And so all of the teachers in 4th grade who don't have the rollout yet, they each have about 10 iPads per class. And then 5th grade, where we're fully integrated there and every kid has their own iPad, we're going to create a walking museum where our teachers and our kids work together to create projects to bring these ideas to life. In a way that shows people who come to see it what we're doing, transforming learning and teaching with those iPads. So parent nights have been a success, and we hope to continue that throughout the end of the year. And on June 3rd, we'll have the big finale when we say goodbye to Burdge and move on to McNeil the next year. What else is going on? We're a Title I School of Recognition. And that really, I got to ride the coattails of the previous principal, Deb, who was there last year. That's really her doing and the teachers doing. But we were recognized for the 2nd time in 3 years as a School of Recognition for a Title I award. What else is happening? We had a WKCE pep rally at the end of October before we started the testing, and that was really exciting. We had some of Coach Dupuy's players come, and they each gave little 3 or 4 minute talks to the kids, and encouraging them to do their best, tying in the idea of how hard you have to work in athletics and how that's just like what you have to do in school. We had the cheerleaders there with cheers and also talking about the same kind of ideas. We led the kids in cheers. I mean, it was a rocking and rolling good time. It was amazing, and we hope that makes a real difference, because one of the things that you have to focus on with this test is getting the kids to take every question seriously, right? Take the whole test like it matters, and that was the point, and they got it that night. So hopefully that's going to show great results for us. What else? I'm going to flip-flop to number 6 and end with number 5. Writers Workshop, the new Lucy Calkins Writers Workshop. We've had 2 coaches, 2 writing coaches from our staff, one 4th grade and one 5th grade, who went to New York City to listen to the great Lucy Calkins in person. A week-long, intense workshop. They came back with all sorts of great ideas as our teacher experts. And they have, we've developed on-site professional development where all of the fourth grade teachers go into Mrs. Murray's class, who's our expert coach, watch her teach. We take care of all the kids in the other 4 classrooms so they can go there and watch her do her thing. Then they come back to their PLC time and they get to talk about what they saw. They get to ask questions and pick her brain. It's a great learning environment. Same thing with 5th grade. We've done that a couple times, and the teachers report back that the stamina among the kids is growing. If you are familiar with this writing program at all, it gives about a 10 to 15 minute, 10-minute mini lesson, and then the rest of the hour of writing, 50 minutes is writing time, where they are intensively writing. They're being coached by their teacher, and that's hard for 4th grade students. That'd be hard for a lot of us probably to sit down and write for 50 minutes straight. But that stamina is building every day. The kids, I go in there and watch this, and those kids are down there, and they've got great strategies, and they're writing. They lose their thought on that. They try something else. They've got their notebook full of ideas. It's really exciting. And I invite you, of course I invite you to come see what's happening at Burdge. Come in, visit a classroom, and see the great things that are going on in our school. And I'm going to end with just a word about our iPad initiative. What a great thing it is. I don't think I can overemphasize the impact it's had on our school, on our teachers, and our kids. Engagement is through the roof. Now, there's something called the SAMR model, which describes different levels of use of the iPad. The S is substitution, where, instead of reading a textbook and using a worksheet, you could read the textbook on the iPad and do a worksheet on the iPad. That's a substitution. All the way to the R, which is redefinition, which is where we want to get. We want to transform learning, and we want to transform teaching and make it look like it's never looked before. That's where we're headed. We're not there yet. But the engagement piece alone is off the charts. And I'm going to end with this little story. I've got one of our friends in 5th grade we would call him a fragile friend, right? He's got a lot of behavior issues. He's in day treatment, and he comes to the school about 1 o'clock every day. And I bet I spent 90% of my time last year, those last 2 months, working with him, trying to help him find success. He was kind of a runner. He didn't stay in class. He would leave the building sometimes. Just every issue you could think of, that was his issue. Well, so he came in from day treatment. It's about 1 o'clock. I'm thinking, I always tried to read him and look at his eyes and, is this going to be easy to go to class, or is this going to be, I have to really work hard to get this thing going here. And I was reading him, and he looked off today. And so I had a bad sense about what was going to happen. He has his hat pulled over here and his big flaps down here. He looked really cute, but I could sense something was going. And I thought, I don't know what's going to happen here. So I talked to him for about 5 minutes. He didn't want to go downstairs to class. Finally got him to get down there. And we get in front of his classroom, Mrs. Straub, the great Mrs. Straub. We're in that classroom, and he looks inside. And what does he see? iPads, the first day of iPads. And all of a sudden, his entire face, his countenance changed. It was like a light beaming, from above. And he just started smiling. He goes, there's iPads! And boom, he was gone. So I didn't even have to do anything. The iPad pulled him in. And, if we get nothing else out of these iPads, we've already won. The kids are completely engaged every day in every way. And I'm here to tell you, they're doing more than just that. They are using it to transform the experience in the classroom. And I want you to know also, as I end here, that the greatest thing about Burdge is its people. I have on my staff 10 of the greatest regular education teachers you'll ever meet. They are fantastic. They perform miracles every day. I want you to come and see it. Come watch what's happening in these classrooms. And they are dealing with kids that have been through all sorts of trauma, all sorts of things that make their life difficult. And these guys come in there and they teach their guts out, and they do a great job. And I'm just so proud of them, and I want you to be proud of the School District of Beloit, because it's a great place to be. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.